Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you to our November 25, 2024 Sueur City Council meeting. At this time, I'm going to call the meeting to order. We're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council members, you're all presenting your packets over the weekend. At this time, I want to address Mr. Roby. I think there's a small change in tonight's agenda. And after he gives us the change, we will approve tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The agenda as presented to City Council tonight is unchanged, but for I would like to insert before the consent agenda, so immediately following the approval of the agenda, I'd like to hear from Mr. Jack Wheeler, our EDA staff representative, for a short presentation update from the EDA.
Thank you. Council members, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda with the one addition. So moved. Thank you, Councilmember Swanberg. Second. Councilmember Toohey, thank you for seconding that. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to the consent agenda. All items on consent agenda. Oh, we've got the presentation we just talked about. I'm sorry. Mr. Roby, you want to introduce it, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Jack Wheeler, as you all, I believe, have met him, is one of our staff members of the EDA, and he's going to begin presenting quarterly updates to the City Council. We do have two members of the City Council, of course, who sit on the EDA, but we thought it would be beneficial for Jack to come before City Council and just provide a quick update on what the EDA has been up to.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So as Joe introduced myself, my name is Jack Wheeler. I work on behalf of the Economic Development Authority here at Mapleton. I'm here 2 days a week and help the community and do community economic development support as needed. So I just wanted to provide some updates on what I've been working on. I'm going to be providing these quarterly for you guys just to get an update on what I've been working on, ask questions just so we can all know what's going on. I've been working a lot with Sueur Henderson High School, specifically their health class. I've allowed them to get 2 virtual reality headsets, which are really going to help with their nursing and health classes, emergency room care, ultrasound technicians, preparation, stuff like that. I've been organizing a local community tour of manufacturing where the students are going to be able to go out and look at our local manufacturers we have in town, like Cambria and AgroPure and Technopack and the like. The students have been working, we've been able to send them to a couple of conferences, including Construct Tomorrow, which is a local manufacturing tour in South Central Minnesota. And then with the new elementary school, we've been working with the principal to see if we can apply for a Safe Routes to School grant to improve or see if we can receive funds for student safety. I hosted a business workshop last month in October, where we were able to connect with our businesses, understand the needs of our community, and see if we can create and share resources with the school and amongst each other. We also have been, that was in collaboration with the Sueur Chamber. And then with the Chamber, we've also developed an art club called the Sueur Arts. You may have seen them at the Sueur Night Out last Thursday, where they were able to feature some local artists within the businesses downtown. And we hope to continue that collaboration and see if we can expand our entrepreneur outreach in town. Additionally, I've been able to meet individually with our entrepreneurs and businesses with the development of marketing and succession planning. We had a couple reach out to ask about product development and more. So all of my resources are here, and I'm here to help the city of Sueur in any way I can. I just want to thank you for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wheeler. We appreciate your presentation. We appreciate the time you do with the EDA.
Yeah, thank you.
Any council members have any questions?
I'm just curious, how many students are you reaching?
Sure. So I've been working with the Sueur High School. So we have a couple classes there. We have a work-based development class. We have a welding class, which is a construction class. So it's pretty far-reaching. I'd like to say that I'm impacting at least. Our goal was to have at least 2 experiences for each high schooler by graduation. So
Thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Wheeler, we appreciate your update.
Thank you.
Thank you. Takes us on to the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine and have been made available to the city council at least 2 days in advance of the meeting. These items will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the agenda and considered a normal sequence. Mr. Roby, do you want to cover these?
I would. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 2 items on tonight's consent agenda. The first is approval of the minutes from the city council meeting of November 12th, 2024. And the second is approval of disbursements through today. Included in those disbursements are 3 items over $25,000. The first is Estates Manufacturing for a new electrical substation building. This is for the city council approved project of the redevelopment of the North Main Street substation, $754,500. The second to Truist Governmental Finance 2028 debt service payment, $154,143.75. And finally, to Christeel Truck Equipment, the outfitting of the electric department's F-350, $40,679.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for our city administrator regarding these items? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
I'm sorry, Mr. Swanberg. Thank you. Second by Councilmember Sullivan. Any other comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? All ayes have it. Moving on to public comment. Mr. Tui's going to bring over a list. I think somebody else is going to.
We got 2.
There's 3, there's 3.
Oh, I thought you were taking it.
I am, but there's 3.
Oh, okay.
Public comment provides the opportunity for the public to address council on items that are not on the agenda. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes per person. Persons wishing to make comment must sign up in advance of the meeting, provide their name and addresses on the sheet provided. So we have, Mr. Markow, are you going to address ordinance 611? Is that what you want to talk about? Okay, sure. We'll cover that in a moment. Is there anybody here? Let's see. Julie Miller, are you going to speak to us tonight too?
Just about the new housing.
Okay. Okay. So we'll cover those once we get into that agenda item, which is coming up next. So is that the way you want to do it?
Yeah, so anyone who's here to speak on a non-agenda item would speak during public comment. Anyone who's here to speak regarding an agenda item will be allowed to speak during the regular agenda item.
I don't think there is anybody here to speak on non-agenda items. So that will take us on to city administrative update. Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had an open house last week for the 2025 street and utility improvements project. I want to thank all the city staff, city team, and the council members and members of the community who came out to that open house. We do plan on December 9th to bring forward the final plans for city council consideration and approval for the 2025 street and utility improvements project, colloquially known as the North 4th Street and Cathcart Street Improvements Project for next year. We've been working with the Christmas in the Valley Committee on planning for the event. A reminder to everyone that Christmas in the Valley 2024 will be held on Friday, December 6th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. downtown. Planning Commission met on November 14th, conducted a public hearing related to the Ridge Road housing development, which will come up later in the regular agenda item 8A. I want to thank everyone for their patience and all the public works staff and recreation staff for their work in completing the community center parking lot. There were too many weather delays, but we want to thank everyone for the patience through that. It looks very nice. Councilmember Schleter and I will have a Region 9 check-in meeting tomorrow. Next Wednesday, December 4th, I'll be giving a career presentation to the senior class. I don't know exactly what that entails yet, but I will find out next Wednesday. I will make it impressive, don't worry. The police and fire departments are organizing a Lights and Sirens in the Valley event on Saturday, December 7th. More to come on this, but they'll be looking to raise some funds for the needy in our community. And the next city council meeting will be Monday, December 9th. It's going to be a heavy one. Final levy certification for 2025, our enterprise budgets and rates for 2025. Our CIP list for both the general fund and enterprise funds in 2025. There'll be a public hearing related to the TIF district associated with Ridge Road development. And as I mentioned earlier, street utility improvement project plans for 2025 will also be presented at December 9th meeting. I'll take any questions.
Anybody, any questions regarding his update? If not, that'll take us into the regular agenda items. And we will start with 8A, first reading of ordinance 611, Ridge Road Housing Development. Mr. Rowe, you want to take us into that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In summary, this is an item as I mentioned a moment ago, that the Planning Commission considered at their November 14th meeting. Workforce Land Development has applied for both a planned unit development or a PUD and a preliminary plat to develop approximately 11 acres adjacent to Distal's subdivision and Distal's second subdivision on the southwestern corner of the city limits. The development proposed is 35 single-family homes, a mix of different housing types and styles, and this development is a fairly specific response to the EDA's 2023 housing study. The PUD itself is presented in the form of an ordinance. That's the ordinance that City Council sees in front of it tonight, Ordinance 611. The preliminary plat comes in the form of a resolution. We've included the draft resolution tonight for City Council to review. Staff will bring the final resolution back for the preliminary plat at the December 9th meeting. Planning Commission conducted a public hearing associated with the planned unit development and the preliminary plat November 14th and recommended approval of both to City Council. The final plat itself, along with an associated development agreement, will be brought forward to City Council at a later date. So City Council will recall the city's attorney, along with the city staff, will develop an agreement which will be signed, executed between the city and the developer that will cover all of the rights and responsibilities of the city and developer. We've done similar development agreements with the Sueur Meadows 1, with the Sueur Meadows 2 on Turtle Street, with Tiller Place, Tiller and Main, as well as the LSH School District for the development of the new elementary school. So that agreement is in draft form right now. And will be presented to council when the final plat is ready. Just as a reminder, the ordinance that's in front of City Council tonight and the resolution that's in draft form tonight are separate from the TIF process itself. So the developer has applied for TIF, the establishment of a TIF district or tax increment finance district to overlay this development. The EDA recommended to City Council, and City Council previously approved the calling of a hearing related to that TIF district development. And that will be held December 9th, which would consider establishing a TIF district. So that conversation, the TIF conversation, will happen December 9th. Tonight's consideration is for the plat and PUD. So what staff are recommending tonight and what the Planning Commission recommended to City Council is two actions. One is to conduct or waive the first reading of Ordinance 611 related to the planned unit development of the Ridge Road housing
this land for over 37 years, and there's two things I know. One, holding pond is at a higher elevation than about a third of those lots on the plat. The second thing I know, water does not flow uphill. I feel, excuse me, I feel that my wife and I are gambling our financial future on that the engineers somehow going to overcome these two obstacles. It's not gambling like you and I know. There's no risk reward on this. The best thing we can hope for, the best outcome we can hope for, is status quo. Nothing's going to happen to our property. That's the best. The worst thing that can happen is our property and our home washes down the hill and ends up on County Road 36. There's no risk reward for us. We feel that regardless of the outcome, the biggest winner in all of this is a developer from out of state. The land that is to be developed has been idle forever, and it's not going anywhere. So I don't understand why this plat is being pushed through without any sort of downhill drainage mitigation plan. And all we're asking for is figure it out and include that plan on the plat. Just take our time and do it right. It's not a seat of the pants thing for us. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Rock. Appreciate your comments. We will take your comments into consideration. Moving on to Todd here. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time reading the last name. Oh, okay, you're with the firm. Okay, we'll hold off with you just 1 minute. Julie, do you want to speak?
Sure.
Let's step on up. Thank you.
I'm Julie Miller, and my husband Greg and I live at 829 South 4th Street. My one concern, and we spoke about this years ago, was what about the Kingsway Drive area? The infrastructure is already in place there. Has this been thought about instead of where you're talking about putting this housing development now? I'm just curious. I suppose you can't answer.
Well, we're listening. We're listening.
That's my question.
Yeah.
Have you thought about the Kingsway Drive area?
What part specifically?
The part, well, my notes say that in the 80s, Sueur determined its growth future when the city, without the aid of any Sueur County gas funds, invested in Kingsway Drive. Kingsway Drive was built for future growth. Now it's close to everything now, and even the new school. And it seems like with this new housing plan, you want senior citizens to have some of those houses being built, move there. But it's not close to anything for us, walking and going to the parks and things like that. I'm just curious, have you thought of?
In a beautiful world, that would be the next place for us all.
It is a beautiful world, so what about it?
There's several knocks sometimes. I mean, it's not owned by the city. Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, either
So
is
that's the biggest knot that I'll tell you there.
right.
This is a private. This is private. I'm sorry. Yeah, we got one person talking. So, yeah, that's the biggest obstacle. We don't own it. There's not a developer that owns it. The school district has most of that property there. So, yeah, so.
Did somebody want to add to that? Okay.
So
Thanks.
is that where we're at, Jill? Are you finished? I don't want to cut you off if you've got anything else to say, so.
No, that's it for now. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your comments, Julie. And, I understand where you're coming from. At this time, I'd like to end with, Todd, you're with the workhorse. I'd like to be sure and give a little balance to this discussion, let you address a few things if you wish.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. Todd Olin, I'm with Land and Resource Consulting. I'm a consultant for engineering and surveying that's working on behalf of Workhorse Land Development in this case. Just a couple of things. Joe went through all the details. Unless there's specific questions on it, I don't want to bore you with the details again, but stormwater is obviously the most important detail on this. And nowhere on the plan are we trying to force water uphill or trying to drain uphill. The detention basin is basically in the center of what's on your screen, in the center of the sidewalk on the south side of the site, which is a trail, not a sidewalk. But we're collecting all the water that's on the site, with the exception of a couple of. Well, let me preface this by there are standards set up by the MPCA, the county, and the city here on how we manage stormwater, how we design, what we use for our thresholds. And basic threshold is that we have to account for all the water, where it's going under a pre and post condition. And in this case, we're using the 2-year, the 10-year, and 100-year rainfall events to compare the pre and post conditions, so that under those scenarios, we are not increasing the runoff in any particular direction off the site. So with that said, we, in the improved area, we're collecting the water, putting it in, routing it with inlets and storm pipe over to the basin that's on the south. If you look at sheet, I think it's, do you have the packets, the whole packets, or there's a grading plan that basically shows the proposed grades on the site that, and it illustrates how deep that basin is when you get a chance to look at that packet. It makes a lot more sense. In addition to that, there's outlet structures, an outlet structure on that, so it controls the high water elevation. Throttles basically the collected rain down to get to a pre-developed flow going down to the southeast. With all this said, there were a couple of key or significant issues that are existing conditions that we need to deal with as part of this this project. One of which is there's a steep slope going to the west, and Sarah and Paul spoke earlier. Right now, they look at trees and the slope that goes up the hill, and it flattens out a little bit in what was a farm field. What we're doing is collecting that water and rerouting it away from that property, so that where we can catch it, we are catching it. We're not exceeding drainage in any direction at any time. I am going to sit down after the meeting, just kind of take a minute if they have some time and walk them through the plans, which I have a plan set here, and there's about 15 pages of it. So there has been a plan. We took several months to prepare it. There's a stormwater management plan that's very detailed. And in addition to this, there's a hydraulic model that shows all the calculations, all the rainfall data, pre and post for those stormwater events. The studies have been done, the surveys are done. We submitted all that. It was deemed, the application was deemed complete. So there are grading plans. I'm going to share those tonight with the neighbors. So yeah, what we're here to do tonight is request that the meeting be set for the next available city council meeting, and we'll go from there. And I'm here for questions, of course, if you have any. Thank you, I appreciate it. Todd, your last name again? Olin, O-L-I. Olin with Workhorse, thank you. I appreciate you sharing your information. Mr. Blackout, Ms. Miller, we appreciate your concerns. Hopefully, if you have any questions, you can talk to them after the meeting too. So with that said, I would like to entertain a motion to conduct the first reading of ordinance 611. Any volunteers to read it?
I'll make a motion to waive the first reading of ordinance 611.
Thank you, Councilmember Swanberg, seconded by Councilmember Tui. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to the second motion, direct staff to finalize the findings related to Ridge Road development preliminary plot and bring resolution to the city council for consideration in its December 9th, 2024 meeting. Motion,
So moved.
thank you, Councilmember Tui. Councilmember Williams, thank you. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. This takes us on to regular agenda item 8B, final item on our agenda for tonight, the 2024 Christmas in the Valley. Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Historically, you would have seen some of these items on the consent agenda, but given the three of them, one regular agenda item, so I will ask two separate motions with this agenda item. Historically, the Christmas in the Valley event has been put on by an independent committee. That's no different this year. A new organizing committee was pulled together this year, and I would like to give kudos to that organizing committee. Made up of members of the Lions Club, the Rotary Club, the Chamber of Commerce, city, and a number of at-large members, and they've done a really terrific job. As I mentioned earlier, the event is planned for Friday, December 6th. It will consist of a parade, music, food, all free to the community and visitors. I want to thank also the businesses that are involved in this. From a formal standpoint, the city's role is a few different things. One is consideration of the parade permit, which has been submitted by the committee. The second is a Main Street closure application for the event itself. And the third, there's been a request of city sponsorship, which would include a waiver of the Main Street closure fee, staff time, equipment to provide additional security setup, and traffic control of the event. I can certainly answer any questions that the council may have about the event, but all of that is separated into three separate motions, because again, normally this would be a consent agenda, but I thought there might be some questions, so basically, like,
Anybody, any questions from Mr. Roby regarding the Christmas in the Valley? If not, we'll consider the first motion to approve the parade permit for Christmas in the Valley as submitted.
Does this have to be in three, or can we take it all in one?
if someone wishes to make it all in one, they may. Then someone wants to peel them apart.
Motion to move to make them all in one.
They're all up there, so I'll give everybody a moment to read that. And I will entertain a motion to approve all three of those motions.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Tui. Councilmember Sullivan seconded. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. No corrections. Okay, moving on to reports and items of appreciation. Council members, this is your opportunity to share what's going on in the community, what's going on with your commissions. As always, Mr. Huntington, we'll start with you.
I'd like to just say special thanks to the staff for the great job they did in the parking lot community center. It really has made a big difference there. And also wish everybody at Sueur a happy Thanksgiving. That's it.
Thank you. Councilmember Schleter.
I attended the planning commission meeting on the 14th where we held a public hearing on the Ridge Road development. It was well attended. There were 11 people that spoke. The planning commission felt that everything was in order to move it forward unanimously. And I attended an HRA meeting and the 4th Street project open house on the 20th. December 14th, I have a Highway 169 meeting at Shakopee Walking.
Thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Nothing tonight. Councilmember Swanberg.
Nothing tonight.
Councilmember Tui.
Nothing tonight, except happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Councilmember Williams.
Also attended an HRA meeting last week and addressed that the Sueur night out, if you didn't attend, it was very nice and interesting to hear from the local artists and some of our family that are coming back. Somebody I worked with long ago, and my daughter was, so it's kind of fun to catch up on things like that, and it's interesting. Very talented people in the community.
Thank you. I just want to extend to the Ward family our condolences on behalf of the council and this community. We buried Butch Ward today, long-time businessman in town. And his wife's been very active in their community and also with the school board. And I just wanted to send them on condolences. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.